Hello, this is Animator, and I am going to be going over a series of courses. In this series, we're going to learn about basically modeling in Blender, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I've learned and am learning. And we're going to texture. First, we're going to model a simple character using some simple modeling techniques. And then we're also going to learn how to turn the symmetry on, and so that we can model out the character using the symmetry so that we can work on both sides. We're going to put a material on it, a texture so that we can paint. We are going to go over some of the texture painting coolness in Blender, like painting on a image, a texture. We're going to go over laying out UVs on our polygon map and how we can readjust our, a little bit. We can model out our head, and then we can adjust our polygons. And I'm going to go over a few of those things. And then I'm going to show you some other steps, maybe setting up just a couple lights. But mostly we're just going to be doing some basic things. And if you have any questions, you can email me or you can leave them in the comments. And just hang in there with me. This is going to be a very slow course for beginners, for people just beginning to model and learn how to create characters in the free Blender app. You can get Blender at blender.org and download it. You're going to need a pretty good computer. If you have an older computer, you're going to have to be very careful. And so let's get started. So I just wanted to show you a few things, and then we're going to start with a blank file. And I have this head set up in here and the UV set up. So we can hit A. Let's go to, we can come up here to this menu at the top and select, we're in texture paint mode, and go to object mode. And then in object mode, we can start to move around in this 3D space. And we're going to be going in and out of object mode and edit mode. And one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can edit your interface so that you can get the font the size that you need it to be, so you can see. And so we're going to come up here to edit, over here on the top left corner. Right next to File, it says Edit. And then we're going to come down the menu to Preferences, all the way down to the bottom of the little black window. And we're going to hit Preferences. And then right up here at the top, there's a left menu where it's blue. It says Interface. And then we see Display right here, Display. And then Resolution Scale. And we're going to be able to kind of, on the fly, just adjust our text. And I'm going to blow it up a little bit. It's late. It's dark in here. It's late. And so I am turning up the font, and my glasses are lost around here somewhere. So bear with me. Bear with me. And so yeah, that's a really cool thing. So I'm just going to close that. And now my text is a little bit bigger. And The other thing is these little windows. If you haven't learned anything, you play with them. They kind of move all over the place, but you can scroll out this right menu where we're going to have our functions and our objects. And if you hold your cursor over it, you can just hold your cursor over a window and hit the plus key and the minus key on your numpad, and it will resize also the window. So if you can't see anything and things are too big or too small, you can hit plus and minus as you begin to learn and study the window here. But they're all menus. And this is basically the properties box. And right above it is what we call the outliner. And I've worked for years in Cinema 4D, so you might hear me say one thing and not the Blender way. But so this is the properties box, and you can pull it out. You can click and drag it, or you can hold your cursor also over the window and hit Control Spacebar and blow it up. Control Spacebar and bring it back down. So that's really cool. I love doing that. So I'm going to start with the first new file, but those are the basic things I'm going to go over. We're going to model this head, and I have set up a little bit of lighting, and eventually I'll go over a whole bunch of different aspects like rendering, and I've got this little guy set up on the camera so that he can be rendered. And if you want, and you don't want to go through the big hassle of setting up all the rendering, you want a quick image, you can always capture it by the screen capture it, or you can do this really cool thing. Now I'm clicking this little cam where it says where there's a little camera icon. I'm clicking that. It's just showing me where my camera is right there. And you should have a camera by default when you open up a file. And so one of my favorite things is to get in here, and I also have a scroll wheel, a mouse wheel, and it helps a lot, especially in a 3D app. But you can do this really cool thing where if you're working in here and you just want to move your menus out of the way, close them, drag them out of the way, you can go to View. In object mode, you can go to View, and then you can say Render, Viewport Render Image, and our camera is set up, I believe, so you can render it like this and get it just the way you're seeing it. And if you can come up here to the Show Overlays, and this Show Gizmo, these two icons in this menu in object mode, and you can just click them off and it will hide these. You can see that. The overlays and the gizmo, and then go to View, Viewport Render Image, and it's going to render it just like that. So that's cool. And then you go Image, come up here in the render window, and you click Image, Save As, and then you can navigate through here and save it to one of your folders. So cool. I guess I'll save mine. Save. And one of the cool things that I love about Blender is you can say Image, Save As, and then if you already have it and you don't want to name it, you can click the plus button, and when it's red, it'll show you don't save over that. Hit the plus button and then Save Image As, and it will just save a new one. So now see red, and there's another one. So that's cool. I mean, I guess rendering is so fun in here. And I'm going to minimize that so I can come back in here and turn my gizmo. Where is it? If you hold your mouse, your little mouse over here, you can scroll your wheel back and forth. And then you'll need to turn your gizmos and your overlays back on so that you can move around. So I'm moving the 3D space by clicking on the axes, the Z, X, and Y axis. You can just click it and drag and move around, and you can always just click on the little dots to see front, back, side, top, and that's so easy, so cool. And we'll be doing more of that while we're modeling. And then you can just render it the way you want it. And you can render it if you want it the way it is, or you can turn your overlays and your gizmo off. I think you can even leave the gizmo on now and just render view. Go to view and then viewport, render image. And I don't know why that's on, but there we go. And I just rendered again, and I'll just kind of view, viewport, render image. And then we've got a rendered image here. And I'll go over later setting up the sizes and everything. So then image, save as, and you can save your render. And it's red, so I'll hit plus until it turns not red and click save as. And I just love doing that. I love rendering in here images and not having to, doing a lot of different renders and not having to save or make a name or write that in. You just get it done a lot faster. So, and then also if you close your render window and you want to find it, you can come up here and go render, view render. And it will bring that window back up. And I've closed it, so view render. And then if you want, you can click here and move to a different slot so you don't render on top of. You come up here to render and you find a slot that's open. And if you want to make more slots, and you've taken them up, then you click that little tiny little square that I just clicked. And click image in another spot right here, and then you can add. So if you only have 8 and you've used them, you can hit the plus button and add as many as you want. And you can delete them too here. So it'll just right at the top, it'll give you like 8 slots. And then if you want to add more, you have to click that little arrow, little tiny one by the plus. And the plus and the minus are there to move your render around. So you can slide it and then you can hit view, you put render, and then the plus is there to zoom in and out of your render. So I think that's really important because you're in here to make your beautiful pictures. And so that's what we're going to be going over. And you can hold your mouse and drag around windows. And like I said, you can get up here to the very top menu and do the edit, preferences, and do the scaling. If it's too humongous for you, just turn it down. And there you go. So those are some of my favorite things. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start with the blank project, but I'm first going to show you again real quickly what we're going to go over in edit mode. This is a really important thing if you haven't been in here. I'm going to turn it back up a little bit and the text or the font so I can see it better. Now I'm in edit mode, and this is where we're going to be building, is in edit mode, where you're going to be shaping and modeling your faces, and those are polygon faces in here, your vertex and the edges. So you want to select the object, and you're going to go back and forth a ton from edit mode, object mode to edit mode, and you can use the shift key, or not the shift. Let me see, what is it? Tab key, tab. So you can go back and forth to edit, to object mode, and edit mode right here. And you can also click on the menu and go back and forth until you get to know where it's at. And that's really cool. And then in object mode, you select it. And I see what's going on is I'm always turning on and off the overlay. So we couldn't see our floor. And so then in edit mode, we go back to edit mode, and now we can see our polygons. And I've closed this little menu right here, and you can just click it right here, little tiny arrow, and then you'll probably see something like this. And if you drag it out, you can see the words. And this is a good way to start memorizing the menus. And the cursor and the select box, they have different functions. They're quite a bit different than what you're going to find in other art apps. So I'm going to go over that, but for now, be on the select box. And we can close that back up. And you can start selecting by clicking. And if you hold your mouse down on the select box, you can choose the tweak, the select box, all these different. And I'm usually on the select circle, and I'm dragging around like so. Or I'm on the select box, which you click and you drag to select. So you can also be on the tweak. And then to start moving, you get on the move tool, which is right below the cursor, and then you can move. So I'm going to edit and do that. And that's your basic. And I'll go over the cursor maybe in the next tutorial. But for now, I just want you to see how we are going to paint. Again, I'm going to go over what we're going to be doing here. At Starfluke, we're going to be making basic, we're going to be trying to make lower polygon, or low poly characters, rather than super high characters, which we'll still be doing some of that. But since we're focused on gaming, and it's much simpler to do and quicker to make a low poly character, model it out, paint it, rig it, animate it, and then you can always go back and make edits to it to make it fancier. But so while we're in here, here's one thing I want to go over real quickly, and that is that we want to select the whole character, which we're going to be wanting to do. We hold our cursor over that window where the object is, and we click A, and that will select the whole thing. And we want to be in UV edit mode. So you may start, and you might just be here in the modeling. So it's up here in the top, and we're going to be working in the UV editing mode. And this is the modeling section right here. So So we can click on our little viewport controller here and move all around. But we're going to go into edit mode where we're going to have the UVs laid out, and we're also going to be doing the weight painting. Well, actually I meant to say texture painting. We won't be doing weight painting for a while, but in these next lessons we're going to be going over the texture paint, just painting the material here. So when you select, you click A, you select, you can't select it while you're in the paint mode. So we need to go back to edit mode. And we're going to be going back and forth from object mode, edit mode to texture paint. And if you want to use the shortcut to do that, first get used to where the menu is. You can hit, I believe it's Control Tab, because you'll be moving down. Weight paint mode, you'll be moving up and down, and I always hide my menus because I have my text blown up. But you can just hit Control Tab and then click Object Mode, Control Tab, and get used to that. Edit Mode, where are you? There you are. Okay. So Control Tab will help you, and then we'll be moving quite a bit back and forth. So the Control Tab and just Tab will get you back and forth. And then the other important thing we're going to be looking at, and we're going to be going over it, is, so we're in edit mode. And once you get into edit mode, I'm actually in paint mode. And normally when we're in the UV tab up at the top here, UV editing, this will not look the way it does. It will be looking like this. We'll be in the UV editor window. But I was in paint in the, I was in image editor. So we will be going back and forth from that too, because we'll be painting. But while we're laying out the polygons, before we can paint, we have to lay all the polygons, which are faces. They're the faces. This is the faces tab, this little blue one. This is the faces tab. But there are two windows here. One of them is we are in the UV editor window. And over here in the 3D space, in the 3D view, we are in the 3D viewport. So we're going to be working in both of these. And you're going to learn really fast that as soon as you start moving around, you're going to be in different modes. So get your notes out, write things down. And I'm going to be going slowly over a lot of things. So just to let you know. I'm going to go try to detail over things so that you can learn how to model, and it will be enjoyable for you. Yay! Woo! And paint in here. It's really cool. It's quite a bit different, like I was saying. It's really different. It's different than Photoshop. It's different than all my other art apps. Okay, so this is Starfluke Games, and we're working on a really cool game. And we're going to make really cool creative characters. So thanks for joining us, and please subscribe. And yeah, yay, blender.org. Download your free copy and start learning from scratch.